Hey guys, HotRod08 here, and welcome to Support Patch Notes 8.4, where I will be going over the changes that affect support champions for each patch during Season 8, as well as providing a place for you guys to discuss the changes below. Now, before we get started, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet and you're interested in support-focused content, as well as these patch notes every single 2 weeks, feel free to subscribe to the channel, as I'd love to have you join our community. We're just about 500 subscriptions. I'm super excited to get to that point, but let's get into these patch notes. So one of the things about patch 8.4 is there's a huge change to the AP items, although a lot of them don't affect the support role. If you're interested in taking a look at that, you can click the link in the description below in order to get a link to the patch notes. But one of the main AP items that affect support champions is the new Twin Shadows item, which used to be an item in League of Legends. They took it out a long time ago, but it basically has the same effect as what Frost Queen's Claim had. It summons those 2 spooky ghosts that hunt down nearby champions, revealing them and hauling them on contact, and they are slowed by 40% for up to 5 seconds based on the distance those traveled. Now, I could see this being good on several champions, especially immobile support AP casters like Brand and Zyra. I could see this being a really good item, since it adds that ability power, some movement speed that they desperately need, since they don't have a lot of self-peel, and those 2 spooky ghosts, as well as being able to catch up to enemy champions, can also provide peel for themselves. So I do expect at least them to start using this, if not some other champions. Next on the list to go over is going to be the Ancient Coin line, which is going to be getting a slight buff for users of Ancient Coin. It's kind of been less for Season 8, but there still are users of Ancient Coin. Now it's going to add an additional 5 movement speed on Ancient Coin, as well as 10 movement speed once you get up to Nomad's Medallion and Remnant of the Ascended. While it's not a huge boost to movement speed, if you use celerity in the sorcery tree, at the beginning of the game, it adds about 10 movement speed to champions that's add-on, so you can kind of think of an extra celerity added to either Nomad's Medallion or Remnant of the Ascended, so it's not too bad of a buff to the Ancient Coin line. Next on this list is going to be the Relic Shield line, which is going to be receiving a slight nerf. So along with the buff on the Ancient Coins, we're also getting a nerf to the Relic Shield line. So we're getting 25 less health on Relic Shield, 50 less health on Targon's Brace, and then we're getting 150 less health on Remnant of Aspect, although it is 100 gold cheaper at this point. Overall, it's going to be a slight nerf to the tank line. So expect all-in champions to not have as easy of a time within the laning phase. This might not be a first buy worthy item anymore, because a lot of support champions just bought Remnant of Aspect as fast as possible. It might change up the builds a little bit now that has a little bit of a nerf. So now we're going to start getting into some rune changes. The first thing is Unflinching is no longer going to be in the Strength row. It's now going to be moved down to the Vitality row. And then Second Wind was moved from the Vitality row and is now going to be moved up to the Resistance row. The biggest change here, which actually might help out some tanky supports, is going to be a new rune called Bone Plating, which says, after taking damage from an enemy champion, their next 3 spells or attacks against you deal 20 to 50 less damage at levels 1 through 18. I could see this being good on all-in tanks, so it kind of evens out between the nerf on the Relic line with a little less health, but having this new rune, because if you're all-inning, you're going to be taking a good amount of damage, and this actually negates a good amount. So overall, the tank line really shouldn't be affected that much, even if they're losing a little bit of health, because this rune should make up for some of those all-in supports going in, like Leona and Alistair. Moving on to the Inspiration tree, overall it's getting a pretty decent size nerf. For starters, whenever you took the Inspiration tree, you ended up getting the passive that your potions, elixirs, and biscuits last 20% longer. Now it's going to actually be a rune, in the Beyond tree, they're removing Celestial Body, which was the one that gave you 100 flat health, and instead now you get that potions, elixirs, and biscuits last 20% longer. One thing that is added, though, is while under the effects of those three things, you do gain 5% increased movement speed. So that might help, actually, with a little bit of initiations or running away. So we'll see how much that helps or hinders. But the biggest change is if you were using Commence Stopwatch, now it is lengthened. It used to be able to kick in at 6 minutes. Now it takes 10 minutes for you to start using your stopwatch. So that is a pretty good amount of time into the game before you're actually able to use that one-time save on yourself. Finally, an honorable mention in the game is the blast cones are actually being lengthened out to when they start being useful. So they first spawned between 125 and 140 seconds. So they used to spawn between the 2-minute and 5-second mark and the 2-minute and 20-second mark. But now they're actually being drawn all the way out to the 5-minute and 5-minute and 30-second mark. So when you're early in the game, you're not going to have to worry as much about some strange ganking path. They're not going to be able to take this cone over the red side wall or into the dragon pit on the blue side. So warding might actually be just a little bit easier for support champions earlier in the game. I'm personally pleased with that change, although it does make ganking for your own jungler just a little bit harder. So you have to also have that in mind. And that will be it for Support Patch Notes 8.4. Now, as I said before, this is a really big patch. There's a lot of things that I didn't cover that weren't support related. There weren't any champions this patch that were support champions that got changed, but there was a lot of champions that got changed around. So if you want to take a quick look at all of the changes, as I said before, I'll have the link in the description to these patch notes. Rather than that, if you enjoyed this video, please comment, like, and subscribe below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks much. Bye.